who his ex-wife, unfortunately, has just been arrested again for her 6 DUI. I don't know if you heard about that.
Well, I haven't heard about poor Tammy. She's got to be, she can't get out of her own way. Is that the best way to put it?
I think her and Scott Hall hold the WWE rehab records for most amount of money spent.
One thing a lot of the Hall of Famers, former wrestlers there, if you've seen those stories, is The Dark Side of the Ring, which I do highly recommend. You can watch some of the older episodes on Tubi TV. I think they have like the first two seasons, either season 1 or season 1 and 2 available on there. There are dark sides to some of the people that have been wrestling or some of the attractions that are on there. Now, before they put in the wrestling divas and stuff like that, the early divas that are on there was one that she was very beautiful at the time, one of the hottest ones on there, and that was Sunny, who Tammy Sitch, I think was her name, and she's one of the Hall of Famers out there. And one thing about her is she is taken, like China, she's taken a major nosedive in the industry. And I mean, to the point where she even went into porn. She did some porn. Yeah, there is porn. She does have it online out there. It is available. And she's gotten into other things as well. I believe she got into drugs. She got into alcohol. Now, recently, back at the beginning of the year, in January, she was arrested and charged with making terrorist threats and unlawful possession of a weapon after threatening a man with a pair of scissors. Just now, recently, she was arrested once again, and she was charged with 11 offenses. I'm going to read this off of the Wrestling Observer. Tammy Sunny Stitch was arrested earlier this week and charged with 11 offenses. As first reported in the WrestlingNews.co, Stitch arrested took place Thursday in Kingsburg, New Jersey, which I'll tell you this from New York point of view, you don't mess with the Kingsburg Police Department down there. According to New Jersey state records, she has been charged with the following: operating under the influence of liquor or drugs, driving after the license, registration suspended or revoked, careless driving likely to endanger a person's or property, reckless driving, wow, careless and reckless at the same time, failure to wear a seatbelt, driving without a license, failure to possess a driver's license, failure to possess a driver's registration, failure to possess a driver's insurance card, failure to install interlock, driving without interlock. Now, there are 2 levels of that interlock, and I believe this is toward, she might have had to have that device that prevents, if you're intoxicated, basically, you have to have a lock device. In other words, you got to blow into something, and then suddenly, the car will start up, or to that nature. And I would believe that's toward that, because the other way it's an interlock, it's a pedal ignition toward that situation. Operating a motor vehicle during a license suspension, second violation. A court date is listed for March 10th. This is the second time in 2022 the 49-year-old has been arrested. We said about the January 1. Since 2018, Stitch has been charged with violation of domestic violence restraining order, contempt, eluding police, various DUI offensive, and driving a motor vehicle while under a license suspension. Sunny was introduced in the WWE Hall of Fame in 2011. She's been announced as appearing at this year's Wrestling Convention in Dallas during WrestleMania week. I don't know if she's going to make it. I'll tell you honestly. I mean, this is situations that have been happening with wrestlers for quite some time. We've heard many stories. China is one of them. We also, Miss Elizabeth is another one that have had some issues. Her death that happened many years ago to another beautiful woman in the industry, and many others. You've heard the stories, and we've also the male wrestlers as well. That you've heard stories to the fact that either they've been a wrestler's been murdered, or they've taken drugs, had heart attacks. I think there's a Randy Macho Man Savage was driving his car and he had a heart attack, crashed his car, and he died in the accident. You've had many others that died. There's the whole where one wrestler killed his almost his entire family, and then killed himself. There are many sad stories that have happened in the wrestling industry. And the thing about it is, there are changes coming, and not good. Basically, we're seeing to the nature that in the WWE, you're expecting new management to come down the line. I think the McMahons are retiring. Is it going to get any better? Hard to say, because one major thing is a lot of these wrestlers need help. And you see what happens with drug abuse, alcohol abuse, DUIs, you get into situations to the point where you've hurt your body. I saw a story the other day that one of the Dudley boys is permanently out of wrestling because of all the damage he's done to his body. And you know what the Dudley boys do with the tables and stuff like that. He's injured. One of them has injured their body to the point where they're done. They're done out of wrestling. And you've heard these other situations. And, of course, the steroid situation, that went rampant, and I still believe to this day is still rampant.